What's going on, guys? MystaSuga here, and today I am bringing you a review tutorial on the Aegis Reclaimer. In this video, we're going to start off with a ship tour, take a look at some stats, recommended upgrades, and best use cases for the Aegis Reclaimer. The Reclaimer is currently the biggest industrial ship in the game, and the most profitable option for multi-crew industrial gameplay. Thank you for clicking on my video. Now let's get into the ship tour. Before we step inside, let's take a look at the exterior. The Reclaimer features a reinforced cargo bay, 7 AI turrets, and 2 massive remote salvage turrets. Oh yeah, and that claw. The Reclaimer has 2 ground accessible entrances, one taking you to the cockpit and the other accessing the rear of the ship. For the purpose of this review tutorial, we will be starting in the rear. However, I will be sure to show you the elevator that accesses the cockpit. In order to call the elevator that accesses the rear of the ship, hold F and look right here. There's going to be a little call elevator button south of where it says cargo lift. Do be aware sometimes this door doesn't actually swing down and the elevator is actually coming down, but it doesn't look like it, and then you just get squashed. The elevator doesn't usually look like this. We are in a mud bath. Fancy. We need this mud bath for how disgusting this place is about to be. Just you wait. We have 5 floors that this elevator accesses, and the heart of all of them is going to be your salvage processing floor. 5 floors does seem a bit too much and a bit overwhelming. However, the 5 floors is really 3, but we'll get into that. The salvage processing area is the absolute lifeblood of your Reclaimer. These 2 filler stations are just simply put like the highlight of the Reclaimer's salvaging ability, and that's even over the claw. These printers, or these filler stations, can print 16 SCU crates, which are massive, and even with a full 240 SCUs in here, these only take 4 minutes to completely empty your Reclaimer and get you back out there again and salvaging. Like I was kind of saying earlier, how this salvaging process area is kind of 3 floors. So above us, we have the salvage deck, which is just this kind of catwalk we see around the room. That is just used for box storage. You can fit these 16 SCU crates up there. And I mean, unless you want to grab a clipboard and walk around, watch people work, I think pretty much the only use for it is those 16 SCU crates. Not only that, but we can kind of see that other floor below us, which you can access through jumping down here. That is the main area that you'll be offloading crates out of the Reclaimer in, but we will certainly take a look at that later. You know what, let's go look at the salvage deck, just so we can see it. Salvage balcony, my apologies, salvage balcony. Unlike the salvage hold, you can't just access this from your salvage processing area. You do have to take the elevator to get to it. But realistically, you'll just stand down there, put 16 SCU crates up on these paths, and just also grab them off from down there. You really never come up here for any reason. And then from salvage processing, we'll check out the salvage hold. And here, just storage. You know, right above us is that salvage processing area. We can probably see a filler station from somewhere. The filler station's right above here. And this does close. Where is it? Yeah, elevator. This will open up a hatch for you to throw boxes out the back. And apart from that salvage processing area, We also have the cargo hold. Pretty straightforward, just a big room. It can hold about 240 SCUs of worth of crates. It's a bit of a pain to get the crates down here. If you need the storage, obviously it's there, but I just put a NERSA in here. That way I can have medical on my reclaimer and call it a day. But that wraps up all of them. That was, 4 floors, cargo hold, and then salvage processing, and then basically just the top and bottom part of salvage processing. But now we'll head up to the habitation deck and get a look at the front portion of this ship. Alright, immediately off the elevator we have airlocks to our left and right, and then we have a subdeck down here. There is a little a little ladder there, and then here, like right in the same place basically. And I don't know if you could, whatever, maybe we can play some competitive hide and seek, but ooh, I feel like this is a spot, you know what I mean? Probably some component access in the future here. As of right now, I don't see it have the ability to open anything on it. And then here is one of our engineering stations. We do have another one in the front of the ship. Obviously this doesn't have a use yet, but once it does, this will be a more heavily traveled part of the ship, I would imagine. And now we actually get to the habitation section of the ship. I'll just complain about it right now. These insane asylum pillows with dried blood everywhere. I hate the pillows. The pillows are just a terrible design, and they're everywhere. Let's just get into it. So, captain's quarters. I don't like this desk at all. How am I supposed to address people? Are people standing while I'm sitting? Not only do I, that's not a good look. I don't want people standing while I sit. 2, like, these are my guests and they're in the captain's quarters and they should have a nice seat. And if they do take a seat, Insane asylum pillows. I don't understand it and I don't like it. Through here, we have our actual sleeping area. I mean, if you're gonna put a captain's quarters, can I get something? Could I get something a little, just slightly more, clean, opulent maybe? Right here, the captain gets some storage, a whole 1.5 SCUs, which is a ton of loot. And then in here, just a terrible, disgusting bathroom. It has toilet paper, which is where the compliments end, because we don't even have soap. There ain't no soap in here. I don't know how I'm supposed to clean myself. There's no toothbrush. That might be hand soap right there. I sure hope it is. But I have no ability to clean myself other than to wash my hands with hand soap. It's disgusting. And, that's not even the worst bathroom. Let me put it that way. Not even the worst bathroom on the ship. Here, eventually, will be some suit storage. But 1 out of 10 captain's quarters. This should just be storage. Let me put a little hanger in here so I can fly a Pisces in and out or something. But this is gross. I want to. The captain's quarters should be somewhere you want to be. This is not it. Even worse. We got the crew quarters. We have the same insane asylum bench setup. But here we get a little bold with the decoration use of the insane asylum pillows. Here, eventually some suit storage. Or, no, not suit storage. Currently, for random stuff storage, I guess. Here's your personal storage for the crew. So a whole 1.35 SCUs per. There's 2 of them here. And then this is the suit storage. Yep, suit storage here. All right. Before we get into this, look in my eyes. This is terrible. This is just terrible, and there is no excuse for this on a ship this expensive. On a ship that you want to spend time on, that you want to crew. What am I supposed to do with this? Number one, and let me just talk about my personal life and my personal experience. I have experienced community toothbrushes in my childhood. Okay, it's not that big a deal. I would assume it's not normal. I'm not sitting here complaining, but why I do bring that up is I can spot community toothbrushes, and these are community toothbrushes. They're all the same color. There's one just on the ground over there. Look at all this crap. The stains, the blood coming out of the medical thing. There's no conditioner, again, no shampoo, just 2-in-1 and some Dare. And what do I have? 3 different brands of shaving cream? Or 2 different brands of shaving cream? This is terrible. It's disgusting. And then this just doesn't make sense to me as a man, okay? Because we know for a fact this is a man's bathroom. How does this look so gross, but then somebody took the time to fold the towels? I just don't see it. The bathrooms, I guess the showers, again, just disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. And this is what it looks like fresh from the dealer. First day in the ship, this is what your bathroom looks like. This is what it ships like from the manufacturer. Are these... So I just get perplexed when I look at the soap setup, and I think you have to shower in both of them. I think you take care of like your hair and body over there, and then the Dare Axle, because you can't just, the Dare Axle isn't going to take care of everything. I mean, they don't put any advertising on it, but if it was an everything in one, they'd put that on the bottle. Doesn't make a lot of sense there. Compliment time though. I do got to say, we have a newspaper. We got a newspaper for while we're taking a dump, and toilet paper. We've been stocked up on toilet paper, but it's disgusting. There's blood coming out. Community toothbrushes. Unimpressed. Both of these. This whole middle of the ship. Fix it. I mean, the insane asylum pillows just do so much damage. Through here, we get to our docking collar. This is for the crazies. This isn't a docking collar. I don't know what goes on. I don't know what Aegis was planning on happening in this ship, but you look at that and tell me you think anything positive happens in this room. I don't think so. See, more gross, insane asylum pillows. How did blood even get there? What happened there? We get to sit on the insane asylum pillows here, and we have a pretty decent condiment lineup. I see 2 things of salt. I don't see pepper in there, but I see some mustard, ketchup, and hot sauce. No complaints. More ketchup. As a man who eats way too much ketchup, I appreciate that. What do we have there? Some liquor? Can I have you? Nope. But that wraps up our habitation area, and this area is called the tech deck. I think we can call it the coming soon deck. It's still super cool. We have our escape pods over on this side. We have like some computers and stuff over here. More insane asylum pillows with blood stains. I don't understand. But in here is our drone operator room, whenever this gets added to the game. Even though this isn't in the game, this room still is super exciting, because I can't wait until this actually works. I'm gonna have a couple drone operators in here. Eventually there will be 4 drones, 2 repair and 2 salvage that you have access to. So obviously drone gameplay isn't here yet, and neither is repair, but once those pop up, this ship becomes a lot cooler in my opinion. Up here we have our, like, the main turret you want to be in. We have some more turrets elsewhere in the ship. but this one is definitely the best turret. It has 2 size 5s. It comes stock with Galderines, which are my favorite size 5s to put on a turret, and the pilot does not have access to these guns. With the other turrets, you do end up taking the guns away from the pilot. In a Reclaimer, it's not that big a deal, but trust, you'd rather have these 2 size 5s than whatever 2 probably size 3s or 2 size 4s that you steal from the pilot. But that's your top turret. It's the only man turret to my knowledge. I think every other turret on this ship is remote. And then from here, you have your gravity generation room. So super cool. And then a ladder leading down to the cockpit area, which we're about to get to. I'll show you where that ladder leads to. But we're going to take this elevator. Feels more appropriate for a ship tour. It's a bumpy elevator. Here we have our other engineering station. We have our salvage processing sort of area here. And right here kind of explains how we can have a ship the size of this Reclaimer and not have a ton of square footage to walk around. A ton of this ship's area is dedicated to this little room right here, or this big room right here. To the left of that, we have our elevator that accesses the ground. And then if you just want to, from, your hangar, just immediately get up to the business section of the room, of the Reclaimer, you can take this elevator. And then this is that ladder that I pointed out earlier. Here we have some scanning stations and the remote turret stations I was talking about earlier. Obviously, scanning gameplay isn't here yet, so these do nothing. And if you're not the pilot and you're not the second person who needs to get in a turret, because that second person should go get in that one, you can access a remote turret from here. It's better that you take these guns from the pilot than let them have access to it, because this ship is not maneuverable enough to really rely on the pilot's guns. But yeah. Then through here, we get up to, I guess, what we'll call our cockpit. Do we name this? We don't name this. Okay. We have our salvage operator seats left and right here. To the front, we have the pilot seat and the claw operator seat. So this is how we will operate that giant claw that comes out the front. But yeah, that pretty much wraps us up here for the ship tour. Now let's get into some stats. The first stat we'll take a look at is price. The Aegis Reclaimer comes in at $400 in the pledge store, or 31.75 million AUEC in game, and you can buy it at the new deal in Loreville. The next stat that stands out on the Reclaimer is its cargo capacity, at an official 420 SCUs, and if the internet is to be trusted, an unofficial cargo capacity of 2,000 SCUs. To me, 2,000 sounds absurd. I think probably 1,000 to 1,500 SCUs is a bit more likely. The Reclaimer also has 3 unique size 4 components in its shield, power plant, and cooler compartments, and a size 3 quantum drive. The unique shield provides 187,000 health, and the Reclaimer itself has 123,000 ship health. This puts the Reclaimer on par with ships like the Terrapin or Starlancer TAC in terms of ability to take a punch. The Reclaimer makes up for this relatively low level of protection with 7 PDCs, which are AI turrets that will all together put out 2,331 burst DPS. So that definitely helps with your lack of, not necessarily lack, but just relative to the size of the Reclaimer. The combined about 300,000 health is on the lower side for sure. The last stat we'll take a look at is exactly that, the size of the Reclaimer, because it is a whopping 120 by 160 by 55 meters in size. It's massive. It gets an XL hangar and fills up an XL hangar. Well, that pretty much wraps up stats. We can get into components real quick. It's very quick and very short because due to those unique size 4 components, you can only swap out your quantum drive, components wise. Other than that, you'll want to swap out your salvage heads. The Reclaimer will come stock with trawlers, and you have to swap those out for abrades. That is a not optional, or I guess a highly recommended upgrade. Well, that wraps up the components. Now let's look at best use cases. The Reclaimer's primary use case is obviously salvage. Before we get into the specifics of that, I want to point out what, in my experience, is the Reclaimer's best quality, and it's not the filler stations, it's not the claw, it's the fact that this ship is built to be used with your friends. I found that while it is 100% a soloable ship, not only is it more fun, but you make more profit once you add 1 or 2 people to your crew, and that includes splitting profits evenly. I haven't ran with a crew of 4 on it yet, but I would imagine the AUEC per hour would start to drop off there. The Reclaimer in its current state has 4 primary roles, and that is going to be the pilot, claw operator, salvage beam operator, and salvage processing specialist, whatever you want to call that. The main job of the pilot, and where any skill or learning curve specific to this ship would come in, is just parking at a decent angle for the salvage heads. My method for this is pulling up to the ship I'm salvaging 10 to 15 meters away, and pitching up to where my nose is just above the target ship. After that, we'll head to the salvage beam. To enter the salvage turret, make sure you're in SCM mode and that your salvage heads are powered. The power on button is at the top of your top computer screen, and the enter turret button is at the bottom of your bottom screen. Do note that the side these buttons are on changes depending upon what side you're on. Once in the salvage turret, select your abrade module. If your abrade module isn't highlighted, press right click to change that. Now to start scraping, press left click and probably put a podcast on. Your goal here is to scrape the glowing material off the ship until there's no more left. Sticking to that method's completely fine. However, if we look at these numbers here, we get a better idea as to what's really going on. The important thing to look at here is this circle, because it's super easy to understand and grabs your attention immediately. I'm kidding, of course, this circle means nothing. It's actually this number here. Sometimes that circle is up at 100%. There's glowing material on the ship that you're scraping away, and the number down here is 0, and the number in your depot will not change. Sometimes there's no glowing at all, but this number below the circle says you're taking material in, and your depot is actually filling up. So that's the only number that really means anything. If that's too much to pay attention to, just make the glowing go away and you'll be okay. That's what I always say. Once the scraping's complete, time to head to the claw seat. Go ahead and hop into this seat, hold F and then look right here to power it on. Press M to actually activate the claw, and then make sure you're in fracture field. Press left click and you can track the progress with this little green circle, and once that fills all the way up, it will explode and be fractured. Once fractured, press right click to enter the disintegration field, and here you'll see how much construction materials you're getting from the fractured pieces. The positioning of the claw here can significantly reduce the amount of time this takes, so if you have a pilot, be sure to reposition your ship while disintegrating. The last job left for this salvage process is operating the filler stations. Printing boxes is as simple as approaching the filler station, selecting the box size you want to print, and then pressing auto eject down here bottom right. There are 2 sort of minor tricks to this trade, and the first is, if you decide to, putting boxes down the elevator. To do that, push the box in straight and then stack another on top. Slide 2 more in next to that and then stack the middle 2 high. The only reason you would be doing this is to put boxes in the cargo bay, but like I said, I just throw a NERSA in there. The next trick to the trade is unloading the 16 SCU boxes. Once you get it down, it goes smooth, but don't be surprised if this gets frustrating when you first start. Make sure this cargo elevator is open, then throw your boxes down there horizontally. The boxes will then sort of jiggle their way out. This method works all the way until the very end with your last 1 or 2 boxes. To get these last 2 boxes out, jump to the elevator and press F here to close it. You'll probably fall, sometimes to your death, but after that, you're all unloaded. I recommend using an atlas to put these boxes on your elevator, as even the max lift can't really handle the 16 SCU boxes. Send your elevator down and then rake in your profits. Well, that wraps up my Reviewtorial. If you made it this far, be sure to subscribe. If you liked the video, be sure to let me know, and as always, if I missed anything, let me know. I've been MystaSuga, you've been great, have a good one.